This is the URT. You are the URT. Smash the URT. Subscribe to the URT. Big up the URT. Damn, I've just missed the Rants Radio. Big up Rants and love, man. People, big up Rants, man. Big up Rants. Love, 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 love. Listen, we're going to talk about it today, people. We're going to talk about how this World Cup can be effed. How this World Cup can be effed, people. Welcome. We're also going to give you some Manchester United news as well. Manchester United news, people. So welcome, 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 people. Welcome. We're going to talk about something that not many people out there, wanted to talk about. We're going to be talking about what this means, what this war means. You got teams like Iraq that can't get out because apparently the airport is a complete lockdown in Iraq, and they might not be able to play the World Cup qualifiers. But we're going to get into it and more, people. And obviously, we're also going to discuss some Manchester United news, transfer news, Bruno Guimaraes, more links with Nagelsmann. We've been linked to kid who's playing in, I think it's Stuttgart, or I don't know who's playing for. It's something Brown, who's a left back that we're linked with. Midfielders, the Labour discussions apparently. But yeah, Tonali, we're going to try to sift what's true, what's not true, what's a serious link and which is not. Big up and love. Please come in. Let's see you after this intro. Yeah, people, big up the URT, big up the URT, big up the URT. This is the URT. You are the URT. Smash a like for the URT, subscribe for the URT, people. Let's be having you therapy army. So the title as it says, people, the title as it says. The title says it all. What we think. The title says it all. Make sure you feed the poor person or people if you missed fast today. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, man. Yeah, big up Rants, man. Yeah, but let's talk about it, people. Let's talk about it. How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we feeling? Eid Mubarak to all my Muslims worldwide, people. Eid Mubarak, apparently it's been confirmed. It's Eid. It's Eid. Eid Mubarak to all my people worldwide, people. Eid Mubarak to all my people worldwide. And so big up to everybody else, people. Big up to everybody else. And whoever else is celebrating any religious or personal celebrations, big up to you. Let's be having you therapy, mate. Let's be having you. What should we go with? Should we start with a topic? I'm waiting for Irfan to jump in. Hopefully Irfan will jump in and then we can URT me. We are live right now. We're letting people know we are live right now. Right now, people, yeah. We always have to give the Glazers and Ineos hatred as well. We always do the hashtag for that. Because when we put it out there to the world, we always have to do that, people. Ineos Glazers out always, people. Don't ever get it twisted. Don't ever get it twisted, people. Don't get it ever twisted. Glazers. Radcliffe out. Apologies, I'm tired, people. Tired. Work. Yeah. Big up to man like Rice, Big up to man like Rice. Big up to man like Rice. Damn, he's getting some fed, man. He's getting fed. It's getting fed. Big up to the people, them. Big up to the people, them. Big up. That's what we're gonna be tackling, man. Eid Mubarak, man. Eid Mubarak, people. Eid Mubarak, man. I hope it's a peaceful one wherever you are in the world, because the world is mad. Trust me, it's mad. It's the absolute madness. So wherever you are, people, I hope it's a peaceful one. And whatever you're doing, I hope it's a peaceful one. That's the most important thing for me. It's a peaceful Eid. And we need to pray for more peace in this world. The last thing, in war, the people that suffer the most are the most vulnerable people, trust me. Are the most vulnerable people, trust me. Yeah, it's crazy what's happening, people. So the least what we can do is pray for peace and pray for humanity. That's all we can do, people, is pray and pray for humanity and pray for those who are suffering as we speak right now. All those people in the world who are suffering as we speak right now. That's all we can do is pray for those. Pray for the souls, man. And all those people who've been martyred, we pray on all sides of the war. We pray for, we pray for them. Yeah, Eid Mubarak, man. Eid Mubarak. It's been confirmed in the UK anyway. Yeah, that's what you know what? We're going to be talking about that. Should we boycott the World Cup? Yeah, should we boycott the World Cup? Should we boycott the World Cup? Yeah. Yeah. Should we boycott the world? Should we tell the bit of the history of the World Cups? That's the most important thing. Yeah, some disruption to some of the Middle Eastern teams as well. Disruptions to the qualifiers as well. Disruptions to World Cup qualifiers. World Cup qualifying games. Yeah, people, it ain't easy out here. Like Iraq, I think Iraq can't play. Iraq cannot play their World Cup qualifying games. They cannot play. I'm just trying to get my man Irfan on here because he needs to come in. We need to talk about it. Let me give him a one bell, man. Let me give him a one bell. Let me give him a one bell, people. Yes, people. Yes, but yeah. But as far as let's go with the headlines. As far as it's concerned, let's go for the headlines, right? Let's go for the headlines. So obviously, as most of you know, the ongoing and unnecessary attack and war on the people of Iran, and which began in late February, escalated to a wider regional conflict, has thrown Iran's participation in a 2026 World Cup into major doubt, obviously. The tournament main host are the US. It's now at war with the one of the qualifying teams. Iran qualified very early. Very early. It's one of the first non-host teams, topping their group, third round group, and it's got to play three group stage matches against New Zealand, against Belgium in Los Angeles, and against Egypt in Seattle. So the World Cup runs from June, obviously, as you know, 19th, to all the way to something August. I think the 19th or something like that, August. That's when it runs. So no, actually, it runs from 11th of June to 19th of July. And it's obviously hosted across 3 major countries. Majority of the World Cup is going to be in the US, but Canada and Mexico have some games. That is what is going on. That is what is going on. That is what is going on, people. There you go. Irfan, there. Big up Irfan.
Sorry, nerd. I was on a call to New York. I was like, and then I looked at the phone. I was like, oh shit, it's already late. And then you rang me, and I tried to ring you back. Yeah, sorry
it's all
about
good, man.
Apologies.
It's all good.
Apologies.
Just live. Yeah, it's live. I was just giving the wider context of what's going on in terms of you've got the host nation attacking one of the participants in the World Cup. So that's what I've just given that bit of the framework, bit of the context.
Yeah.
What I am getting into as well is now the fact that maybe Iraq I can't fly because a lot of the airports in that part of West Asia is closed. You know, Iraq is right next to Iran.
Yeah.
And they're looking to play the World Cup qualifiers, and I'm gonna get that up. But yeah,
so
you know
when you mentioned Iraq though yesterday, you know who the manager of Iraq is, Nuruddin?
Coaches is Mullenstein.
Rennie Mullenstein is one of the coaches.
Yeah.
And he was on TalkSport recently talking about what they've had to do, because their dilemma at the moment is, I think they've got to play in South America somewhere, and they can't fly out or something from what they've got some major travel issue at the moment. And it's something like a 25 hour, or I don't know what it is. It's a long flight. But the other mad thing that came up in the interview with Rennie Mullenstein, he said that they've had to play a stupid number of games in qualification. Like in Europe, it's 6-7 games. That's it. They've had to play, I don't know how many, 10, someone in the chat tell me how many games Iraq has had to play to get in the World Cup qualifiers to qualify. Someone tell me, because it's a crazy number. And the point they were trying to make out is that it's some kind of thing that the Asian Football Federation are using to try and make money for themselves, kind of thing. That was the vibe that was coming across in the conversation. But we know, and well, you should know that Iraq is since Saddam was kicked out, it's basically it's led by Shias, because Saddam was a Sunni from the Ba'athist party, was running Iraq, but the majority of the people, 80% of them, were Shia people. And now that he's gone, the Shia now run Iraq. The Shia's best friends are the Shias of Iran. So they're like one. They're supporting each other hardcore. But they're both coming up with what they call, let's be honest about it, the devils of the American empire. They both have to deal with them because they've both been used and abused by America. America's had the foot on the neck of both countries for a long time, right? And I don't know if you're old enough to remember the Iran-Iraq war, where American empire came up to Saddam and said, we want you to destroy Iraq. And that was only after the revolution, where Ayatollah Khomeini, not Khamenei, Khomeini basically took over from the despot dictator, the Shah. And I mean, I could go very deep in there.
CIA installed. Remember that.
Yeah, it was CIA installed. But I don't know what you guys, I don't know how far you want me to go back and explain this. I don't know what you want me to do. We could be here for an hour if I give you all the details, and you could go back and forth with me. But I think it's important.
People have got Google. If they can ask questions, people have got Google.
Well,
we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about this, Stefan, for about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about some Manchester United team news as well.
So I think it's important, though, because I grew up with a lot of Iranian people. A lot of people think I'm Iranian. I've always had that all my life, right? And my father from Pakistan, he actually could speak Farsi, so he would speak with Iranian people when we were kids, when we grew up in Manchester. I actually used to go to the Iranian mosque as a child as well. So what it was, though, is when I got old enough, and me and you have discussed this many times, is when we learned about what happened in 1953 with Mossadegh, and how when he won power in elections and fair elections in 1953 in Iran, the first thing he wanted to do was nationalize the oil. Okay. And you know who didn't like this, because this is when the British Empire's just died, but the American Empire's starting. So I don't know whether it was BP or Anglo Petroleum or whatever they were called, basically said to one another, the secret services of Britain and America said, you can't allow this to happen. You can't allow an Iranian guy to take over the oil that we controlled in Iran with this guy, this Iranian prime minister. We can't let the Iranian people own the oil of their own country. We can't allow that to happen, because in those days it was might is right, and that's how it used to be. You know, it was basically the law of the gun or the bomb ruled, and that's how the British Empire ruled. That's how the European empires ruled, and now was the time for the American Empire to rule. So that's what happened. Okay, so when Mossadegh basically said he was going to nationalize the oil, what did they do? They put him in jail, and he died a miserable death. And they got the dictator, they got the Shah in to basically rule Iran. And this despot royal, he wasn't even from the royal family of Iran. He was just a guy that they found to pretend to be the next part of the lineage. So he basically took over Iran, and he ran it like his own fiefdom. Kings, queens, palaces, gold, millions of money of the oil, backhanders, enriching himself. You know, the people were hungry, starving, etc. He didn't give a crap. And if you try to stand up to him, his SAVAK, SAVAK, his secret police would have you finished off in no time. Okay. So from 53 to 1978, you had this misery of this despot. The Shah Pahlavi was running Iran. And this fermented a lot of deep hatred in the country of Iran, especially the Shia, religious Shia lot. They hated it. So their leading exile in Paris was Ayatollah Khomeini. All right. So Ayatollah Khomeini was building support in the ground. When you got a despot in, you know, in leading your country, you're going to do stuff behind the scenes, building your own groups and your own resistance to fight against him. And finally, things came to a point of real turmoil in 79, when the people had enough, and the Shah had to be taken out by America, and then Khomeini flew in from Paris in 1979, and this is when the Islamic Shia revolution of Iran took over. That's when the Shia took over from the despots of the Shah. But 1979 is also the time when the American Empire and the British and everyone, the Europeans, got together and said, we can't allow this happen. We can't allow this religious guy to run Iran. So they've had sanctions on them for 40, 50 years, trying to destroy the country. They've been trying to destroy Iran for a long, long time. And the first way to try to destroy Iran is when they went to Saddam and said, Saddam, we're going to give you all this weapons, all these bombs. We're going to give you mustard gas, right? We want you to destroy Iran. And so they had to fight Iran in Iraq in the war. And I know that from my reading at the time that the Iranians lost 1 million people in the war. They lost 1 million themselves. God knows how many Iraqis died, but it was tragedy. It was like, I don't know, I always look at it as like island file in Scotland. It was just horrible for the people. But that's what the colonizers do. They get the people together to hate each other and kill them all, because that's what they want to do. So from the point where they've had to rebuild themselves after the Iran-Iraq war, they have been building themselves under massive economic uncertainty, under sanctions. They've been slowly building the army up, building the country back up, building everything back up. Okay, and it's gone on since 1979 against everyone. Luckily, it's had some support from Russia. It's had some support from China in the later years, and this is what's pissed off the European Empire and the American Empire so much. It's pissed them off, but they've learned that they have to be strong, because you know you've got the great shaitan, the great devil, which is Israel, hanging there. And if I was to do geopolitics very, very quickly, the way it's worked is you saw, I don't know if you saw, Nuruddin, you know the statement put out by Saudi Arabia and everyone today. Did you see the statement put out by 12 countries today? Did you see it? Right. So there was a statement put out.
I've been at work all day, fella.
Yeah. So there was a statement put out today, because you know yesterday, I mean, sorry, I'm just saying, I have to go backwards and forwards to today and back to history, because it's too much to get into just like that when I can't give the background. But yesterday, or the day before yesterday, America and Israel bombed one of Iran and Qatar's biggest gas fields, one of the biggest ones, right? And when they do that, because Yeah, they know it's going to cause misery to Iran and Qatar. It's going to cause misery to people who use gas. But Iran said, if you do this, you know what's going to happen to you. We're not only going to bomb Haifa, the gas fields in Haifa in Israel, we're going to bomb the ones in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, in Qatar, and that's what they've done, okay? That's what they've done. So what happened was all the belly dancing, all the tin pot dictators, the worst one, Mohammed bin Zayed of the UAE, then you've got Saudi Arabia, then you've got
Mohammed
Bahrain.
bin Salman, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yeah, but I'm going through all the dictators that are bought in the pocket of Israel. I'm naming them all. UAE is the worst. You've got Qatar, which plays this double bullshit game where they pretend to be with the Arabs at Al Jazeera, but they're up the pocket of Israel. So I don't know. I feel sorry if you believe what they're doing. They're not genuine at all. Qatar crooks, Bahrain, Oman, right? All crooks. Turkey, one of the worst scumbag leaders ever. The guy's got $15 billion worth of trade with Israel, and it says to his voters, we're going to fight for our Palestinian people. Meanwhile, he's sending all the oil to keep Israel alive. This guy's a scumbag. Do not believe a word Erdogan says. Then you've got Sisi in Egypt. You've got a scumbag Egypt, because Egyptian history, again, like I said, after Nasser, the last pro-Arab, pan-Arab leader to try and unite the Arabs, Nasser, they said we can never have another Nasser again. So what did they did when Nasser died? What did they do in the 70s? They got rid. They put Sadat in, and Sadat's first thing was to make peace with the Israelis. What happened when he made peace with the Israelis? They assassinated him, because that was a bridge too far. But since that time, they had Mubarak, the dictator, and now they've got the even worse dictator, Sisi, who will do anything that allows Israel to do what he wants, because he gets the money from the CIA. And the reason I
just want to give the context. They get about 100 million a year from the CIA, from the
yeah, of
US.
course they get all,
and that's to keep to keep the border and to support Israel. Do what Israel says.
No, but it's not just that. It's because Egypt is one of the poorest countries in the world in terms of 1 in 3 live in poverty in Egypt. And what it is they need the loans from the IMF. And one of the reasons why they're so close to Israel and America is America gives them the bombs and weapons because it's a military dictatorship. Like Egypt is so much like Pakistan. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable.
80 million, I think, is the biggest Arabic-speaking population in the world.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is the Egyptians military, they run the country like a fiefdom, exactly like the Pakistani military today. The Pakistani military, they own the cement factories. They build all the real estate. They have ownerships of gas, oil, you name it. They're like the corporation.
They're the biggest corporation in Pakistan. They're the biggest corporation.
Yeah,
they're the biggest multinational in Pakistan.
The biggest multinational in Pakistan is the army, and it's the same in Egypt, where
whatever the US tells Pakistan army to do, they do. Lock up Imran Khan, beat him up,
lock up, kill him,
assassinate this, assassinate that.
So I'm saying, so there was a statement put out today after the fields were bombed, the gas fields, by all these donkey dictators in the pocket, up the backside of America, to say we condemn what Iran's doing, and basically it was a message to tell America, don't worry, I know Iran's bombing us, but we're still on side with you. That's how sick these people are, because the people in the country would get rid of all these people in Egypt, inside in a New York second if they're allowed to, but they'll be shot to pieces, they'll be bombed to pieces by their own governments if they try to retaliate and try to resist and try to overthrow them. So all these 12 countries like Pakistan, Egypt, UAE, Turkey that made this statement, they know that the rulers have an iron clasp on all of these countries, all for the sake of keeping them in power and making sure the great Satan of Israel and America does not rock the boat. And in a nutshell, one of the reasons why Iran is attacked, because Iran is the only country that stands up to the whole region. It's the only one that's got the power to. It's a massive country, Iran. It's bigger than Europe, or the same size as Europe, and it's 90 million people.
90 million population, yeah.
And it spent 25 years under severe sanctions, making sure its military technology was high class, because it's been given drones to Russia. That's how sophisticated its machinery and weaponry is. It's advanced. They've got advanced ballistic missiles. And to be honest with you, I'm a bit sad for them, because Khamenei, who came after Khomeini, a religious Shia, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody Iranian out there who knows, who's a Shia especially will know, he said a fatwa, which means a religious decree,
order.
yeah, and registered order, which we will not build the nuclear bomb. Now, if I was Khamenei's advisor, I would said, brother, please listen to me. If you don't build the bomb, you know your country's going to be finished at one point. I would advise him to build it, because what is happening now is one of the reasons is because he didn't build the bomb. Now, obviously, he's tried to be peaceful. He's tried to negotiate with them. What happens after years? What did they do after years and years of trying to, please the IAEA, trying to appeal to the weapons inspectors and nuclear inspectors? What did they do in the end, Nuruddin? You tell me. They bombed the shit out of them, killed the 86-year-old leader of the Shia world.
But even, you know what? And he was also a religious leader, because, the Western propaganda is just the propaganda, people.
No, he was the leader of the Shias all over the world. That's what it was.
Let me just say this. It's not even just that. Like, what is crazy is that the Israelis and the US government think they care about Iranian women.
Oh, it's the fucking
Iranian women and the rights of Iranian. They don't even care about the women in their own country.
Of course they don't.
Look at the PDF files and look what they're doing to the children, right? To the children. Look what the billionaire class in the US and in international order, world order, what they've done to the PDF class, the PDF files, what they've done. The idea that they care about the human rights after what they've just done, being a part of the genocide in Gaza, is the most laughable. It's exactly the same thing they said they cared. They cared about, let me just finish this, Irfan, that they cared about the Afghani women, or the Iraqis, or the Libyans. But what are we doing here?
But Nuruddin, you and I both know in these hypocritical liberal democracies, they know if you mention human rights, that touches the nerve and the heart of the people here. The people with their head up their asses here, the liberals, who live in this country. That's why they keep talking about the women's rights, of human rights of women in Iran, Afghanistan, all these countries, because they know that's what gets them, the people with their head up their asses, the J.K. Rowlings of this world. That's what they know will work with appeasing and getting something that they connect with. Oh, we need to have women's rights in Iran. They know that works. That's why they use it. They didn't give a shit about how many Palestinian women.
The new one. Listen, big up Bombay, big up to Sean. Sean, we've not heard from you for a while. I hope you're well. The new one is that, actually, Sean is here. They care about the Christians in Nigeria.
Oh, no. Sean is here, man. Guys, listen. Before we continue further, right?
When did the US government ever care about Christians, Nigerians? All of a sudden, they care about the Nigerians.
But Nuruddin, you and I both know Nigeria, like Pakistan, like India, is suffering from post-colonial psychosis of its people, whether it likes it or not. It is.
All of that. Listen, it's not just those countries you mentioned. It's the majority of countries that are being colonized. But, let me just welcome in Bombay. Bombay, big up, welcome. Hope you well.
Evening, guys.
Evening, Bombay.
Bombay, listen, how's the family in Lebanon? How are they? Are they safe?
Yeah, some refuse to leave their homes. Seek shelter, or some said, no, we'll stay, we'll die in this house. I'm not leaving my land.
No, I read that yesterday as well from a guy.
And some, and this is young and old, and some have left, but the situation is difficult. You have to remember that the Lebanese government and Israel brokered a ceasefire, and Hezbollah, that is the resistance movement, it's basically agricultural people of the south that got organized after the revolution of Khomeini in Iran, because Israel used to come in and do what it wants. And the Shias of Lebanon were fourth-class citizens in a country that was the link between East and West. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, all these were still backwaters when Lebanon was the link between East and West. It was known as the Paris of the Middle East, the Switzerland of the Middle East. It was a very, it was almost a European country. And at that time, you had the Christian Maronites, um, and other Muslim populations
The
who were
the
sending
Sunnis, yeah, yeah.
their sons to Harvard and Yale and the American University of Beirut, while those people were excommunicated and they were still drawing water from a well and shitting in outhouses.
Mm.
So Israel would come in, do whatever it wanted, and the Palestinian, ostracization was in its primacy there. It was in full swing, and the Shias saw themselves in the Palestinians and harbored them and started to fight with them
Supported them.
and supported them when the rest of Lebanon didn't want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, people who were
That's
occupied
true.
the massive refugee camps.
So
But-
that's
Palestinians.
the reason I'm
Mumbai,
telling
can
you.
I just pause you 1 second, Mumbai? Can you just say because I hate to say this, but I don't think any of our people who in the comments who listen, I don't think they've got any understanding of Middle Eastern history or West Asian history. I don't think they have. So it's important to tell people that Israel occupied Lebanon in 1982 for a long. I mean, how long was it? 20 years? How long was it for?
Southern Lebanon.
Long time.
Yeah.
Southern Lebanon, and that's the reason I'm giving you this is just a little backstory so that you understand where we are now. That ceasefire was not something that the resistance movement was prepared to go all the way, because these are a type of people. They've got an iron constitution. They are the type. We'll die. We're going to die stood up. We're not going to be living on our
Bullied
knees.
or
Now,
intimidated or
I
humiliated,
respect
yeah.
somebody that is willing to. People want to live. I respect that. I really
But dignity, you want to
But-
live with dignity, though.
Yeah.
Therefore, how can I not respect somebody that says, even if it costs me my life,
Yeah.
I am not living subservient to Israel. This is my land. This is my heritage. This is my country. These are my family. These are my people. Either we're going to die for the principle, or we don't want it. And
Yeah.
this is why some people have decided to stay. Now, that ceasefire, the resistance movement of Lebanon completely upheld it. But since the day that ceasefire was brokered, and the Lebanese resistance did it for the sake of Lebanon at large, because they get demonized and vilified by their own government and people within Lebanon, because they're saying you're taking us to war. But the argument is, you're leaving us at the whim of the Israelis, as long as you're living and enjoying. Because anybody that knows Lebanon has been there, you will have some of the best nightlife in the world, man. Whatever
Beach
you
life.
want, you can have. Yeah, it's all there
Beach
for you.
life,
It's all there
right.
for you. It's go onto YouTube, look at the people that have been to Lebanon, what they are telling you now. Not even talking about it in its prime. What do you want those people to do? If
Yeah.
your government has left you, if your own people are saying that, what we're effectively saying to you is, die, starve, be at the whim of Israel, at their injustice, at their aggression, but don't say ow because you're going to involve the whole of Lebanon. No, this is ridiculous logic.
Listen,
So
everybody understands
finally,
that. Yeah.
finally, after over 1,000 breaches of the ceasefire by Israel, and after over 1,000 appeals to the United Nations on the basis of this ceasefire, finally, the resistance movement have said, listen, enough is enough. You're still killing daily. Every time people are trying to rebuild their home, you're bulldozing it. So you're not allowed to rebuild. You're not allowed to do nothing. And every day people are being killed. So now it's back on. And that is exactly why you are seeing the resistance movement now is just going all out on Israel, because Israel now want to come in to the south of Lebanon and occupy and annex land.
Yeah,
And
yeah. The
they've
Greater
gone in on
Israel
the
plan. We
ground.
know about the Greater Israel.
And this
Those
is
of
why
you
the
go and Google
resistance
that, the
movement
Greater Israel
are
plan.
currently engaged hardcore.
Yeah.
And this is where we're up to.
Big up, Mumbai. Thank you
But
so much.
hang on, Mumbai. Though.
Irfan, I need to bring Sean in. Just 1 minute. Big up, Sean. Sean, join us.
We're gonna get a counter opinion now, yeah?
No, I thought that he's in the US.
Yeah, you are.
How are people talking about what the disruptions is already caused to the World Cup qualifiers? For instance, Iraq beat UAE to qualify to play in the playoff game. in Mexico against Bolivia or Suriname, I think, and obviously all airports are shut. So how is this affecting this war, the World Cup qualifiers and everything else? Do you have a sneaky feeling that maybe if Iraq get kicked out, maybe Nigeria can qualify?
Yeah, no. I think on a lighter note, right? I'm hoping that like the world blows up before Arsenal wins the trophy. That's the only circumstance which I'll accept.
You'd rather have a nuclear war.
I'd rather have everything go to shit than watch
That ain't
Arsenal.
happening. That's not happening.
God, even if they win, I swear to God, they will go down for me. And I say this with all my chest. And I say this as honestly, the ugliest team to win the Premier League since the start of the Premier League. That's my humble opinion, but go ahead.
I agree. Now for a counter opinion, right? So I think let me start by setting the table that I identify, I think as Irfan was implying, I identify as one of those people that Frantz Fanon describes as the wretched of the earth, right? Yeah. Which is a colonized person from a colonized place whose psychology is fundamentally altered by 1,000 different contradictions, right? I grew up listening to and enjoying foreign music, foreign sports, foreign culture, and that's fundamentally in tension with my own local identity as a Nigerian. And then I find myself now living also in the West. And the same applies to all of us here in this panel, right? People from places who find ourselves living in the West. And, you know, within the US locally, I think it's important, and in Iran and Israel, it's important to make distinctions between the everyday population. For example, most of the Americans are not for this war, are not in support of what Trump is doing, whether that's on the Republican side or Democrat side. Most people don't support it. And that's for America. When it comes to Iran, I appreciate the distinction between the everyday Iranians who were once part of who are part of a long, proud history as Persians, right? As a proud race of people. Everyday Iranians who want to be doctors, TV stars, actors, whatever, but are forced to live under a wicked and ideologically motivated theocracy, right? I'm able to hold in my mind a distinction between the everyday people and the people who rule their society. And I think we should also apply the same thing to Israel, right? So it's perfectly reasonable for somebody to say that they oppose the regime in Iran, right, and have no sympathy for the Ayatollah or for any of the people who were murdered, but don't want to see or don't want to have a war be the means by which you effect any kind of change that you want to effect. Diplomatic solution should be the best approach. Today,
can I just give you a little thing what you just said? 83, last time I checked, I think it was something like 80-something-5% of the Israeli population, by the way, and if you know anything about Israel, is highly militarized society, and they've been brainwashed so severely
on the highest level,
on the highest level, on the what Zionism is. Zionism is not Judaism, and I want people to differentiate that. Zionism is a political ideology. Judaism is a religion and an ethnic group, right?
That goes back thousands of years.
But in terms of, thousands of years, as we know, like, you know, Abrahamic religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, we understand that. Please differentiate the two. To understand that this current crop of Israelis they voted for, they green lighted the genocide in Palestine. They're completely behind the project of Greater Israel, which includes Lebanon, which includes UAE.
Nuruddin, you got to explain what Greater Israel means.
It's established that we disagree now, right? It's established that we disagree. So let me offer the full context of my disagreement with the points that you're making. I think if you're able to appreciate the distinction between the people in Iran and their leadership in Gaza and Hamas, I think you should be able to appreciate the distinction between the everyday Israelis who just want to go to school, eat bread, have sex with their wives or girlfriends, basically, and drink wine, and the more ideologically motivated leaders who might be driving the country to war. I think you have to appreciate basically the context of what it means to be Israeli over the last how many years basically, and the threats that you're facing, right? Basically from people who on the other side of you, around you. Now, I mean, the only way there can be peace, in my opinion, is if all the ideologically motivated leaders step aside and let regular people basically be in charge of the negotiation. So in my mind, I totally understand and can see why everyday Israelis might feel threatened and heightened. But there's a lot of propaganda to go around on the Israeli side, on the Iranian side. Basically, it is a fact, right? It is a fact that in many of the Iranian, whether in Lebanon, Hezbollah, or Hamas in Gaza, many of those leadership, basically, in pursuit of ideological motives, have destroyed the economies, basically the economies of the places that they live in, right? And they're selling you a promise of a larger victory, a Pyrrhic victory about where you might earn some pride that can only be gotten basically from the grave or at the end of a bullet, basically, and you have to forfeit material enjoyment today on this earth today that we're all living with our brothers and sisters. So I mean, the way I see this thing, right? I'm fully willing to concede that this was a war of aggression unprompted by the US and Israel. I'm willing to concede that it was a mistake. And it was I wouldn't go as far as saying that the human rights and international law conventions have been betrayed, discarded. The hypocrisy of the West is coming full stark relief now. I'm willing to concede all of that. But I'm also able to hold in my mind the idea that it's just not true that everybody wants to live in peace and harmony. There are ideologically motivated people on all sides of this conflict, basically, who are willing to sacrifice lives in pursuit of greater agendas. And that's a dangerous place to be. I wish we were still in the 2015 regime of the JCPOA. That's the Iran nuclear deal, basically, that prevented them from having a nuclear weapon. But I just think we should be careful about the amount of credit we're giving to regimes who I just think, quite frankly, are are not at the level and I'll go as far as saying are evil. Yeah.
Okay, so hang on, pause now, pause. You've done your propaganda now. I'm going to ask you one question, Sean. No, you have. I've met people like you all my life, Sean. Okay, all my life I met them. How many countries has Iran invaded in the last 100 years? How many has it invaded? Tell me.
I don't think you're making as good a point as you think you are. So why don't you? I think you know the answer to that.
Huh?
You know the answer, Irfan. So why don't you get to the point?
Zero.
Yes. So
now,
make the point that you're trying to make.
America invaded and Israel invaded the last 100 years. How many is invaded? Do you know the answer to that? You know the answer.
And
that's what I mean.
I want you to get to the point. I want you to get to the point eventually.
Very basic understanding of it. Now let me explain something to you about the regimes. Yeah. In England, I'm a left wing, so I'm a socialist leaning person. Okay. I don't want private capital to run the country. I want services nationalized. I want people to earn a good wage. I want wages to go up. I don't want greedy entrepreneurs to take all the money and billionaires. I don't want all that shit. Okay. It's the same for the people in these countries that have been sanctioned to death, that can't live. They can't live on their throat, right? They can't live with the throat. So what the Western world says, either we put your foot on your throat and you live like peasants, or we'll murder every single one of you. That's the game in town. That's the only game in town. Okay?
And Irfan, you don't think that's propaganda either? Huh? Like, right? You don't think what you just described is propaganda as well? I already conceded. Right. So
I didn't know if you take anybody's side. I just explained. I don't take anybody's side.
You described the scenario. You described the scenario where quote unquote Western powers are holding these quote unquote third world countries at ransom, basically, to either follow their diktats or be bombed to oblivion. Right? That is the claim that you're making.
Stop. Okay. Stop. So what you're saying? Follow that diktat. You think that's not? You don't think that's a fact? You don't think countries under the American empire are basically told either you follow the free market neoliberal model or we'll bomb the shit out of you? You don't think that's fact? You don't think that's true?
I think many things can be true at the same time. I was willing to concede, and I am willing to concede that, for example, Iran elected Mossadegh in the 1980s,
No,
democratically elected
1953, brother, 1953.
1953, sorry, democratically elected person, but he had an economic ideas that were different from what the West wanted, and so the UK and America.
No, false. Sorry.
He wanted to nationalize.
You can't do amateur history. You were experts now. You can't do amateur history.
No, you described yourself. You described yourself as a socialist now.
No, in this subject, there's no room. Mossadegh was put into jail by the CIA because he said he was going to nationalize the oil.
We're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing, Amirfan. I'm using shorthand to say Mossadegh had a specific economic political theory, right, that he wanted to implement, which was different from the neoliberal.
What was that, Sean? What was that?
They called it communism. They called it whatever they want, right? I think Efan would describe it as social democracy. People who are in favor of it.
You see, again, listen. Forget all that, because Mossadegh was a liberal secularist. Okay, that's what he was. Not a religious guy. All he wanted to do was lift the country out of poverty by taking some of the money from the oil.
If you didn't,
do not interrupt me, Sean.
No, you interrupted me first now, right?
No, because I had to stop you because when you go on about things you don't know about, I had to stop you.
No, but you stopped me to agree with me.
No, you are.
You stopped me to agree with me, right? And if you let me finish.
Mossadegh wanted to give his country back some of what he owned. Iran's country.
I think Sean is conceding that point, Efan.
I'm conceding the point, right? I'm conceding the point that I'm saying I'm willing to concede that was a blatant act of post-colonialism. It was evil. It was gangsterism. It was hypocrisy on the part of the Western powers, and it had a direct correlation to the suffering and misery that many Iranians faced in the years that followed. I'm conceding that point upfront to you. I'm also now saying that you have to weigh that side by side with the fact that just this morning people were hung to death basically for protesting the regime. Right?
No, I'm sorry. Wrong. Fact. Wrong. I read about this every day. You're wrong. This is the problem, you see. You don't spend enough time because, when you study this subject deeply, you have to get past layers and layers.
So are you saying 3 people were not hung today?
No. The people that were hung to death are the people that work for Mossad. They're the people that get hung. They get hung, yeah.
Not for protest. Not for protesting.
Okay.
No. You don't get hung for protesting.
That's what that's the narrative.
No, that's the Western PR.
And packaged
but again, the media literacy, right? Media literacy
punishment, bro,
is about
if you are basically blowing things up, a Mossad agent, there's no room for that.
So I hear you, Bumayan, and I hear you, Efan, right? But I'm saying, Sean, if you're being intellectually honest,
Sean.
Yes, just let me make my point, Efan. Media literacy, right, and intellectual honesty requires you to consider the motives of the people in power, right? So when Vladimir Putin describes many of the political prisoners in Russia as traitors to the state, right? When he wants to kill somebody in his country, he first tags them as a traitor, right? So I have to consider the motives, basically, of the people in power. So when you call what I framed as propaganda, and then you go ahead and give me your own propaganda, basically, right? That no, it's not possible that the people who were killed by the regime in Iran are actually innocent citizens who maybe just don't want to have to be under an Islamic theocracy, right? It's not possible. They must all be Mossad agents. That sounds to me also like propaganda.
No, it's paused because I'm gonna teach you something you never known before. Okay, I'm gonna teach you something now. Okay, let me tell you something. Iran, on conservative estimates, 20 to 25% of the country supports the Shia. 25. This is from a guy called Trita Parsi, okay, who's one of the most outstanding.
I know Trita Parsi.
Okay, he's one of he's not a religious guy. He's nothing. He's just an honest guy who says whenever's
Big
right.
Up Queen. Efan, 1 second, please. 1 second. Big up to Super Nick. Not seen you for a long time. Welcome back, Queen. I hope you're well. I hope the family's well. Sending so much love and solidarity always.
So listen. I understand.
Efan, can you correct one thing? 25% of the population support the Ayatollah.
This is what Trita said. Listen, Nuruddin, in my lifetime, I have met belly dancing Iranians. I've met the miniskirt crew, the boobs out. I've met the religious ones with the deep beard, the ones who believe in Shia, who strongly Shia, believe, who are very devout. I've met them all. Iran is like most countries in the world. You've got a whole mixture of people. But I just want to make a very, very important point that you guys maybe don't know. You know, when this first thing kicked off 6 to 8 months ago, when they decided to bomb Iran 6 months ago, okay, and Iran decided to fire back at Israel, and America had to tell Iran to please kill, because Israel was shocked by the amount of ballistic missiles and what they could do to Iran. To Israel, they actually had to stop 6 months ago very, very quickly. It ended very, very quickly. But in that time when people were telling you that 32,000 were killed by the regime, I'm going to actually tell you what happened, okay? The CIA and Mossad are deeply involved in any kind of uprising that happens in Iran. They will do anything.
Irfan, that's motivated
No,
reasoning.
listen, guys, I'm talking. You just keep quiet until I talk. Then you can come back in, okay? Because you need to hear this, okay? So what happened was, so obviously they're fermenting unrest. They'll do anything to get rid of the Shia government in Iran. They'll do anything, okay? So they've got the people on the ground. They're trained in Albania. They're trained by the Mossad, right? So the latest thing that happened was this. This is what happened, right? What happened? They basically, the first thing they did was they did a play on the Iranian rial, okay? The currency. The currency is already complete. It's like Zimbabwe back in the day. The inflation in Iran, because of the sanctions, they've basically destroyed the country. It's a miracle that it's still surviving. $100 is something like 4.2 million real. It's ridiculous. A loaf of bread is like, I don't know, maybe 450, 60,000 reals a loaf of bread. It's insane. The country's on its knees because of the sanctions, okay? So what happened was, in the latest round to destroy the country, what Mossad did via the Bank of England, the City of London, Wall Street, and the UAE, they played a game on the global currency markets, which was to destroy the currency of the rial, which is already completely worthless, even more so. So that I'll give you an example. Abdul, who was a TV salesman in Iran, who was basically would sell iPhones and stuff like that. He wasn't really crazy about the government. He wasn't really crazy about the opposite. He doesn't support Pevlov. He's just an ordinary guy who wants to make his money. He then jumped out in the street screaming, saying, "I'm already poor, I'm broke. The iPhone that I would buy for $50 and sell for $60 is now costing me $75 to buy. How can I make money?" So that was the whole point of the technique to try and bring the latest idea to try and bring down the government was first to bring down the currency. So the ordinary shopkeeper who was neither here nor was very liked by the government, didn't hate them, didn't love them. The ordinary guys, not the natural enemy of the government, they were the first target, and that worked because they came out in the streets when they did a play on the real currency. That's the first to happen. Then what happened was the Mossad agents that were in the country went round when everybody was protesting and started shooting people willy-nilly in a psyop operation and started killing them. And that's what caused a massive thing going on. That's when about 4,000 were killed. The Iranian military didn't know what to do. It took them quite a while. But the way they stopped this latest attempt at civil unrest was what they did is they shut down the internet, okay? They shut down all the internet so that the people working for Mossad and the people who are Shah's, Reza Pahlavi and regime change people, they basically could communicate each other. So what happened was Elon Musk was given Starlink satellites so people could use the communication, these Mossad people. Elon Musk supported them. Then the Russians actually gave jamming advice to the Iranians to stop any communication. And that is what quelled this latest thing. It quelled it so hard. And every person that they demonstrated, they hanged them all. They hanged every single one of them, okay?
Again,
This is what they did. Then listen, let me finish. They hanged them all, okay? But 4,000, they said 32,000 dead. So 4,000. This is coming from people like Trias Parsi, Leif Marouf, all the people, geopoliticians, geopolitical analysts that I respect. So that failed again. So imagine they were so frustrated because this country's on its knees. They're trying everything to destroy it. But the Iranian military, for whatever you were to say to them, the IRGC, they're very strong people. And they've got the support of China. They've got the support of Russia because it's part of BRICS. 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 BRICS is the institution which wants to stop the domination of the petrodollar in the world. And that's what it comes down to in the bottom line. Okay. So
let's make it a conversation, okay? Irfan.
When
let's
anyone
make it a
tells you
conversation.
bullshit
So
about
let me.
32,000 people dead, I'm talking. You can talk when I'm finished, okay? Right? This is what happens. Right? This is the propaganda. You will never told this story. Now, me, I had to listen to CNN, BBC, every single propaganda channel. Then I listened to all the ones on the other side, and I made my mind about who was telling the truth. Okay, and sadly,
Okay.
very, very few people do that. So I just explained to you, Sean, how little you really know about the subject. And I'm sorry to say that,
Sure,
right? You know better than
Irfan.
me. Okay, I have 20 more
I
years reading on the subject than you do.
I don't judge people's knowledge of a subject by whether or not they agree with my positions. So you can just take that for what it is. Like you, I respect Yuta Parsi and I listen to what he does. I follow him on X and I read his works, right? I also read stuff from Al Jazeera. I read from all the angles, basically. And you put together a compelling story of conjecture, basically, right? Inferences, conjecture to come up with a story that suits your own point of view. I'm able to hold two thoughts in my head at the same time, right? I don't see the West as angels, and I don't see the East or the South as demons, right? You cannot convince me that the Western powers are pure and holy, and at the same time, you can't convince me that the Southern or third world countries are evil and demons. Basically, everybody is capable of both great good and great evil. And if I can speak to the one that is closer to my home in Nigeria, I think there is such a thing as extremism. Extremism comes in many forms, whether it's Christian or Muslim, and so on and so forth. So it is not far-fetched to me, right, that a corrupt extremist regime would harm its own citizens. It's not far-fetched to me because I've seen it all around the world. We see it all the time. It's not out of the ordinary, and it's not an impossible thing to happen. So I'm not motivated one way or the other. I think it's important, right, to, as you said, Irfan, consider all the facts from many different angles, read a lot, but also consider basically the motives behind what you're seeing or what you're reading, right? It cannot just be that everything works towards your conclusion. You have to be willing to challenge yourself, right? So I'm able to stand in the middle of all this and say, on one hand, I think some societies are freer than others. I think a certain type of political.
I really don't.
Hello, Sean.
Honestly,
One second. 1 second. Sean, are you there? I think Sean, come in and come out. The microphone was shaking. Maybe he had a call. Listen, at the end of the day,
but Nuruddin, can I just say, the last point you just made, about countries behave in certain ways, and this, I get it. But if you don't understand and to be listening today, that we have a group of people, part of the U.S. empire, who want to dominate everything. If that's not a fact to you, I feel sorry for you. I feel
100%.
I feel sorry for you.
Listen, let me come in and I want to bring Bombay in, and I think then we'll move on to because we'll be talking about it for an hour. Big up to ITN.
It's a massive topic, Nuruddin. We could do 10 hours on this.
We can be here 10 hours. Big up ITN. ITN came in and said, he said this, Nuruddin, you don't help yourself. You're on a football sport bias basis, your channel, but now feel necessary to have politics on. Question mark. Make sure you keep it off for all in the
tyranny across the world. Make sure you keep up for all the tyranny in the world. Yeah.
Big up to you, love. Listen, I'll just say this as simple, right? Colonization never stopped. There's no such a thing as neo-colonization. There is management. There is a fascist ideology and fascist and white supremacist ideology that is, and by the way, what I mean by white supremacy, I don't talk about white people. White supremacy is like, it's something distinct of its own in terms of the ruling elites and in the global empires of the world. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about white people, individual white people. No. White supremacy is a doctrine, is an ideology. But the ideology of all ideologies is what Irfan touched on. It's called neoliberalism. I repeat for the people of the back. Neoliberalism is a form of capitalism.
It's an extreme version of capitalism. Yeah. Extreme version.
And there are many different forms of capitalism, but this is the most extremist version, right? Neoliberalism, capitalism. Now, it all began roughly, and by the way, for colonization and slavery and control and domination, you didn't need neoliberalism. But neoliberalism basically began with the Chicago
And
School of Thought.
well, it was
Yeah,
Reagan.
so it came out of the
It was
Chicago School of
yeah.
Thought. Yeah, Chicago School.
Milton Friedman.
Milton Friedman. It came out of this school, and then it was then used by the U.S. Empire to go on experiment with certain economies and political and economical situations in different countries. For example, Chile in 9/11, Chile 1970s. That was one of the first.
They picked out Salvador Allende.
So Salvador Allende, when they bombed him in his presidential palace. So what Trump is doing now with what Venezuela is exactly the same thing. This is a neoliberalism.
Well, Chile, you mean Chile, yeah.
In Chile. Same thing what he did in Venezuela by taking,
Maduro,
they bombed him in that presidential palace in Chile, so Salvador Allende, and they took Maduro out of and arrested him and his wife, whatever. But that is also, that neoliberalism, fascism is also known as Reaganomics, Thatcheronomics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the reason why the working class people in this country are blaming black and brown people for the problems that are caused by the economical system, which was designed by the Chicago School of Boys, which is an ideology that is fascist to the core, right? Core is nature. Now, it will never stop. It will never stop. I just say this. It will never stop. No, it will never stop.
About billionaires, Nuruddin, you got to say this is a system that creates the billionaires, neoliberal.
Yeah, but that's right. Yeah, fine, of course. It creates multinationalism and it creates billionaire class, the Epstein class, the PDF files. That's what it creates. So the divide between the rich and the poor is extraordinary.
Extreme.
In this country alone, this is all linked. This is not separate. All of it is linked. That we had somebody like Jeremy Corbyn, right, who ran for office. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. That's what I sang by everybody. Jeremy Corbyn became the Labour leader of the Labour Party. Labour just means the workers. The word Labour means workers, right? So it's a party for the workers. And he wasn't trying to make fundamental changes. What he was trying to do is just to bridge the gap of the wealth in
wealth inequality,
in this country.
Yeah. That's
they went so hard after him to destroy him politically and to destroy what we call the left leaning. The people that just want a bit more fairer. They want those public services to be well funded. They want
not to be too expensive.
Not to be well funded, not very accessible. They want to tax the billionaire, the 1% in this class. In this, they want to tax the corporations. They want Google, all these different people to pay their fair share, right? They went after Jeremy Corbyn, and Jeremy Corbyn also said he wants an ethical foreign policy. That means that the laws that Britain has, they stick to it. But when he went into the room, when he became the Labour Party leader, and he could have won an election in 2017 when he came really close.
17 came really close in 2017.
Yeah? You know what the Labour Party in this country, the leaders or the establishment of the Labour Party in this country said to him? Would you promise that you would support Israel no matter what? And you know what he said? They took him into a back room, right? And he said no. And then his political career was finished from that day. So that's the context. People think what's happening in this country domestically, what's happening around Europe, is not linked to what's going on in Iran, or what's going on in Palestine, what's going on in all the four corners, what's going on in the Congo, the genocide in the Congo, the genocide in Sudan. You know what I mean? The poverty, all of the poorest countries in this world, what do they all have in common? Something called United Nations, which is an instrument of war for the U.S. empire. Where's the United Nations?
Well, it funds it. That's why it pays for it all. It pays for it.
Where's the United Nations in New York? IMF, the IMF, International Monetary Fund.
Yeah.
World Bank. All of these things are instruments of control of Western empire.
Hegemony, Western hegemony, yeah.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that they're pushing is this fascist ideology called neoliberalism. Now, neoliberalism is not in the way it was in Iran. They didn't practice neoliberalism in Iran, right? No. They didn't really practice in Russia to a certain extent. They don't practice neoliberalism. Even though it is a neoliberalism, some people call it dictatorship.
It's state capitalist, it's state capitalist.
But there is different way that they run that country. In
Mm.
China, it's a different version.
It's state
Now,
capitalist
all of
again.
these different versions, like some could say, you know, they got all their like pluses or minuses. For me, I think for the world, the way is neoliberalism needs to be destroyed. But
Without a doubt.
neoliberalism has built, if for those people don't know, have built on what the industrial military complex was already at. So what is going on in the world, domestically and abroad, is the squeezing of the life of the ordinary people everywhere. And then you got now the tech lords.
Mm.
You got the Zuckerbergs,
Mm.
the Elon Musks,
Mm.
and majority of all those different type of technologies were all developed by Western intelligence services.
Yeah.
So these people are not in charge. They are the faces of these.
They're the
things.
faces, yeah.
They're not the ones who are in control. But Bombay, I'll bring you in, and then you have the last word, and then we'll go on to talk about a bit about Manchester United latest transfer rumours. But go ahead.
So I just want to set the stage to clarify a few things, people. It's very important to, disclaimer. We're educated people here, and we have grown up politically, all of us on this panel. So when we're discussing America, we're not talking about the people of America.
No.
When we're discussing Israel, it is a Zionist state that
Look up
is
Zionism.
backed by
Educate yourself.
Christian evangelicalism. We are
70
not
million people in the US.
talking
70
about
million in the US.
Jews. And when we discuss Muslims, ISIS is something and there are Muslims that are something else. This is not about the people, because anybody with a modicum of sense, you've seen the major shift towards Israel, which is long overdue, I am sorry to say. It has taken a genocide and the behavior of Israel and America for people to really see the truth of the world. Now, I just want to reply to Sean respectfully. There was a revolution that happened in Iran when the Shah was in charge. He was westernizing the country. This is a country that has been a Muslim country for 800 years. Okay? So we got to the point of the economy was garbage anyway. He was doing there's a documentary you can watch. He did a birthday party where he ordained himself, anointed himself as Cyrus the Great with a crown. He invited all the dignitaries all over the world. That party cost millions at a time when there was starvation. When a revolution in a country happens, and then the army start to vacate and shift with the people, that's called a popular uprising. The country rose and overthrew the Shah.
It was.
Okay? Why? Sean's talking about motives. If everything is great, how is a revolution successful when the Shah at that time was the most backed person? You had Russia taking oil, gas, England the same, and America. The problem was when Khomeini came into power, which is the guy they portray to you as Hitler incarnate, he broke the hands of Russia and America and Britain and said, out. You're not taking this wealth for nothing. This is the people's. What the Iranians have been under since then is the worst sanctions in history.
Without a doubt.
So America, that sanction is what is starving that country.
That
Now,
was
what
its
the
first weapon.
Iranians-
That was its first biggest
Same
weapon.
playbook in Iraq, by the way.
Yeah.
What
Same
the
playbook.
Iranians learned is that when the West was kicked out, they went to Saddam Hussein and said, hey, go after him. 8 years, 500,000 people, Iranians, stood strong against all the odds. They went round the world begging for weapons, literally begging. Nobody would help them.
Yep.
That's when they learn, if you are not strong in this world, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Ask the Palestinians. Now, the Iranians, under all these sanctions, they have put their money to be self-sufficient. They produce their own weaponry. The Ayatollah Khamenei that was killed in his home, he wasn't hiding. He was killed in his home by an American. He's 86-year-old. He was bombed in his house with his granddaughter and his daughter and his son-in-law. He, from a religious point of view, said, we are not interested in a nuclear weapon. You killed the guy that told you we don't want a nuclear weapon, but we are interested in nuclear power for energy, like all the other countries are.
Yeah, most countries.
So what is Iran? Iran's problem, the West's problem with Iran is that it kicked them out. It is a self-sufficient country. And geographically, it's very important, as you are seeing with the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't need anybody. It produces its own subs. It produces its own ballistic missiles. Man, the country is a country that is a serious nation, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to just ask this. No, bro.
Very much educated.
We've seen
nation.
Everybody's crying for Palestine. Let me make a few points on that. The whole world, and I'm coming to the Muslim ones in a minute. The whole world has been watching for over 2 years a genocide.
Yeah.
They bombed hospitals, killing 500 people instantly.
Babies in incubators, Bombay. Babies in incubators.
They tell you to go to get help here, and they're waiting to shoot you as you get food. Nobody's able to do anything. Nobody's able to help these people. And then you move on to the Muslims, onto this nation, Muslim nation.
So-called.
So-called Muslims, so-called.
1.64 billion of those Muslims, 1.64 billion of the 2.2 billion in this world, the governments of those that represent that demographic, if you don't want to help the rest of the Muslims that are rising, that's one thing. But to work against them, that's something totally different. You have not even been able to get 1 grain of rice into those people. Not 1 grain of rice. Iran and Hezbollah and the Ansarullah of Yemen and the Hashd al-Shabi of Iraq are the only entities, I'm bringing the whole world back, not just Muslims, that are taking the fight to Israel and are standing up and actually going to war with the United States of America. Western nations wouldn't dare do that. This is the difference. This is why Iran is a great nation. It is representing the whole of humanity. And everybody wants to see America and Israel fail. The only people that are standing up and actually going to war with them is Iran. It's Hezbollah, it's Ansarullah, it's the Hashd al-Shabi of Iraq. That is a fact. That is a fact. Spain, England, Germany, France, nobody can get a grain of rice in there. Every international law that the East have been vilified for not obeying has been broken, and the West is impotent to do anything. America is. What's the reason you've gone to war with Iraq? This is what we should be talking about.
Epstein,
what's the reason? What's the justification? As Irfan said, the Iranians have never waged a war on anybody. They defended themselves in a Western-backed war that came to them for 8 years, costing them 500,000 lives. Nobody would help them. Where has Hezbollah ever invaded? Where? People accuse them of no, bro. Last thing.
It's the propaganda.
Another thing. Sean speaks about extremism. ISIS and this greasy troglodyte human being that you would not want as your neighbor was created by Saudi funding, Qatari funding, American intelligence, MI5, Israeli Mossad. When they came and during the last episode, when they went everywhere in Iraq beheading people, in Syria, you can see the videos, man. It's online. They're hanging heads in the middle of the streets. Who defeated them? It was General Qasem Soleimani that led the charge against them. It was the same people that are vilified by the West who are standing up to a colonizer that wants to subjugate them in their own peninsula that actually defeated those Muslims. They're not the same.
They're not Muslims.
And me personally,
and by the way,
talking about
you know what I think
Franz
who ISIS
bro.
were? You know who ISIS were? ISIS were Israeli. Mossad's
Talking about
CIA, man.
bro, you can see them. They were treated in. They were being treated in
Israeli
Israeli
hospitals.
hospitals. They were being treated in Turkish hospitals. The last thing I'd say, and this is only my personal opinion, I have listened to Norman Finkelstein speak, and I've read The Wretched of the Earth by Franz Fanon.
To be fair to Sean, he did admit that he's full of contradictions.
Personally,
He's a victim.
He's full of
personally,
deep contradictions.
Bro, listen, what we have to get away from now, I'm sorry to everybody, whatever. There is no chance on earth I can ever be spoken to as if I am on trial after the record on what has been done by Western nations that champion themselves as the people of freedom and democracy. Bullshit. Bullshit. This is a lie.
But it's always been a lie. It's always been a lie.
I
To be
personally,
fair, Sean did concede and say
bro,
contradictions.
bro.
Oh, come
if
on.
I was,
He's such an oddball in so many ways.
If I
He's
was
such an odd
Palestinian,
guy.
if I was Palestinian, I'm with Norman Finkelstein. Norman Finkelstein said, I went and read about Nat Turner's uprising.
Yeah.
And he went on a rampage, slave uprising, and he killed 54 white people. Now that guy was vilified and condemned. This is ridiculous. If I was a Palestinian, I would join Hamas today.
Habibi,
You've left me no choice.
Listen,
you've left me no
it's not
choice.
just that. Listen, it's not just that you join, but they imagine you're a child. They've taken out 200 members of your family. What are you going to do?
Brother?
Look, your whole lineage, your parents' side, your father's side of the family wiped out. Your mother's side of the family wiped out. All the different generations, all your cousins. Yeah, listen, Bombay.
Please, I just want to finish on Syria. I just want to finish on. No. I'm finishing on Syria.
Politics, this is what you got to expect. You got to expect
finishing on Syria because this is also nonsense. We had Syria, again, this major propaganda that the devil incarnate is there. I'm not telling you he's an angel. Syria was the gateway, the airway for Iran to supply weapons to Hamas in the heart of the Zionist entity. To resist this entire hegemon coming to do to us like it did to Venezuela.
Explain the Israel, right. Bombay, if you want to do that, explain what the Greater Israel is.
The Greater Israel project, man, is a biblical thing where they want a lot of land. But what I'm saying about Syria went from a facilitator. Bro,
they want Lebanon now. They've got Syria already.
Hang on a minute.
Syria went from a pro-resistance, anti-Palestinian, out not in the grasp of the IMF. They called it a regime, and it was under heavy sanctions.
Hang on, it wasn't anti-Palestinian.
It was pro-Palestinian.
Pro-Palestinian. You said it was anti.
Yeah. No, pro-Palestinian.
Yeah.
The Syria that everybody's rejoicing about today, its military is completely destroyed.
Yeah.
ISIS is back in town. It is not with the Palestinian people. It is arresting pro-Palestinians in Syria. You've got massacres on sectarian basis. Armenians are being killed. Shias are being killed. Christians are being killed in the most gruesome ways. Israel have now annexed how many kilometers of your land?
All of the Golan Heights. All of the Golan Heights.
And now Syria is no more part of the airway. It's gone. And when Syria went, the Palestinian cause was lost. That's the reality of what people are celebrating today.
Lost that bit further.
Yes. So hang that in your ear. That's the Syria you have today compared to the Syria you had before. Now it's no longer a regime. Now it's a government.
Hang on. The guy that runs Syria is Chief Mossad agent, Chief Mossad guy. He's ISIS head chopper #1, and he was put in there by Mossad. I don't do conspiracy bullshit. I don't do what all the things. People who don't know anything about history always jump to conspiracy theories. But let's just summarize, because we can have these debates all day long about politics. We are all into politics via choice, not by choice because of the countries we came from. All of us, the three people in this panel, all our ancestors have suffered because of Western empire brutality. Although this is why we're much more aware of politics than you people are. Now, let me just break it back, because I feel we've been just bombarding you with all kinds of shit. I want to just go back to basics again and to ordinary young people listening, even the ones we don't agree with, even the ones that are trying to say, so were the people that were hanged by Iran, did they get a fair trial? I mean, how ridiculous can it be? Of course they did not. Is Iran the most amazing, perfect regime? Hell no. Of course, it's got problems. But when you put it in a situation like this, if you go against the state, you're going to be killed. Whether
How many people do they hang in the US? How many people do
I
they
know
put
it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know who
How
these
many people
clowns
do
are.
they put electric chair in the US? How many innocent people do they murder?
They're clowns. Look at the comments. They're clowns. It's just clowns. That's stupid things like that. Oh, how many people got a fair trial? How many people do you think in Britain get a fair trial?
How many people
in Saudi Arabia get a fair
locked up
trial? I'm not saying
in this
it's right.
country for fair
I'm not
trial?
saying it's right, but these are the effects of war. These are the effects of brutality. Everybody, even innocents, die. So let's just break it down. Look, you guys, we brought this up because of the issue of Iraq. And Iran's in the World Cup this year. Iran wants to play in America, but they're not going to play. They wanted to move the game to move to Mexico, but then America's saying no. Everything, even in sport, is political. Nuruddin says this in my circles when we hang out for the last 20 years. He's been saying this, and you need to get this into your head. Everything you do in life is political, whether you like it or not. Everything you do. And if you're a white person, you may not think that, but believe you me, it's the same for you guys as well. And when we talk about white people, we're not talking about everybody, but we're talking about the propagandized ones who benefit from the system. Not everybody does, that's white, but that's how it is. For our black and brown friends who are suffering hypnosis, who want to be influenced in Dubai, I feel sorry for you lot because you just got found out. Where's the influence in Dubai now, okay? They
left all the dogs there, man. They left all the cats,
the they left the dogs there. They left the dogs.
They all were showing up all those influencers.
There is another thing.
I went to Dubai, right? And I'll be honest with you, it's the most shameful thing I ever did in my life. It's the most shameful thing I ever did. And I went with Nuruddin's cousin, right? So I didn't go without a choice. But what I saw was the reason why that place is a hellhole. It's for lost souls. That's who people who go to Dubai. People who don't want to pay tax. But I mean, like the divide between Jumeirah and Deira, where all the Europeans are all in Jumeirah, and all the people like us are in Deira, and it was fascinating to see the difference. But we don't need to go into that. All you need to understand from this conversation, football supporters, because you're young football supporters, is please do your reading. Understand, I gave you the best book I could ever give you advice. That the book that civilized me 20 years ago was by an amazing white British journalist who lived in Lebanon. His name was Robert Fisk. He wrote a book called The Great.
Robert Fisk.
Yeah, amazing journalist, right? You know, he looked like your geography teacher at school. But he wrote a book, I think it was called The Great War for Civilization. It's 1,000 pages long. But I guarantee if you read that book, you won't be sat here in the comments thinking, what are these clowns talking about? You will understand it because it's a white British man giving you all the truth about every single country, Lebanon, Syria, Israel, Palestine.
Iraq.
Everything is in that book, everything. And this guy's researched 40 years of research, okay? And that's what I'm saying. Like the brother just said, if you don't do politics, politics will do you. And politics is in everything. We don't even need to talk about Gianni Infantino and the disgusting nature of FIFA and UEFA. We don't even need to talk about what the scumbags at AFCON have tried to do to Senegalese team. We don't even talk about, but these are examples of how politics never evade you. You can't run away from politics. And if you run away from more politics, the more ignorant you're going to be, the much more ignorant you'll be. And I'm just going to make one last point about Palestine because it's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. The Palestinian resistance, Hamas, they made one calculation in October the 7th. They tested themselves after being blockaded for 17 years in Gaza, where there was no
20 years, 20 years.
Well, it was whatever it was 20 years. They were blockaded, right? Most of the people most of the people in Hamas, let me just give you some basics, right? They're mainly orphans. They've lost their homes. They've lost their parents. They've lost everything. They can't even get married. If you don't have a job in Gaza, you can't get married. So a lot of those people who've got nothing left join the resistance. Now, the resistance calculated that nobody cares about us anymore because the Israelis, Americans, the British, all the scumbags, all the people that create Israel, they don't care about us. Nobody cares about us. All the donkey dictators, nobody cares. So we're going to do one thing. We're gonna create an act of resistance where we're gonna kill people, right? But what we'll do is we know that we're going to be killed in even far greater numbers. But if you look at it from an analyst perspective, what the equation was, it's taken the complete obliteration of 96% or 92% of Gaza to rubble, worse than Hiroshima, worse than Dresden. it's taken the death of 70 plus, if you believe the Lancet Medical Journal, 350 to 600,000 dead, because we don't know how many people are lying under the rubble. We just don't know. 70,000 is a very polite figure.
We're never going to know where, fam.
Hamas basically calculated that it might take the death of all of us, right, for people to grow up. And let me tell you something. Yahya Sinwar talked about it. He said, when I look at how the Algerians got resistance from the French in the attempt to fight back against the French controlling Algeria, something like 3.5 million died. And they said, we know the sacrifice might be the end of all our people, but it might take something like that for you lot to take. And I say now, this is my final thing. It has taken the obliteration of their country, of so much of their population in Gaza, for more than 1 billion people to wake up to the depravity, the barbarism, the sheer evil of American Israel, for people to wake up to their evil, their depravity. That's the calculation. So just do a bit of geopolitics and understand how resistance works. They might be on their knees. They might have lost everything. Even to this day, they're starving because Israel won't let the food in, even now after the so-called ceasefire. But 1+ billion people have woken up to their plight. And so if I was speaking to Yahya Sinwar now, I'd be saying, you know what, Yahya, I understand what you did it, because this was the only way that you're going to get the world to wake up to the suffering and misery of the Palestinians, which in my opinion is the worst. It's the worst suffering of any people I can think of in my life in the modern era. There's no suffering like what they're going through right now and what they've gone through in their whole lives. And it's because of white Western imperialism and brutality, where they thought they could give the land of somebody else promised by the British to them. When they looked at Uganda, they looked at Argentina, they looked at America, they looked at even Germany to settle. And why did they choose Palestine? Because they knew they had the support of the British, French, and Americans to do it. And they said, well, you colonized, you stole it off the Native Americans, you stole it off the Aborigines, we're going to do the same with Palestinians. And that is the story. That is what happened. That is the reason it happened. So boys and girls, please learn politics. We've got 3 smart people here. We're football people, but we're also very deep in politics. You ain't going to hear this anywhere else. You're never going to get a discourse. But all I want from you guys is to love your Man United, love the football, but also wake up to the politics of the world, because you'll always be a little bit simple if you don't understand what's going on in the wider world. Fair point?
Yeah. Listen, I'm big up to the Haitian king. He says Iran's not a good place. Yeah, because you live in Canada or America, you're so propagandized, man. They could say the same about Haiti. And you know, Haiti was the first ever black republic, free place for black people.
I want to answer this guy.
History. Bumbaye, I'm gonna have to put him there. Sorry, Bumbaye.
No.
I'm gonna have to come in here. Because I wanted to explain to people the original title. We've given them all the context. It took us an hour and a half to give the context of what's going on. I just want to give them a further context, right? So, because of this war, the World Cup qualifying games, last knockout qualifying games, to determine all of the participants in the World Cup 2026, which starts on the June the 11th and ends on July the 19th, is in uproar. You've got teams like Iraq who cannot play the game that they need to play because the airport in Iraq is shut.
It's shut
and
down.
They need to be able to go to Mexico to play the winners of either Bolivia or Suriname. And that is what is happening. So, and also, the US have basically blocked and said that Iran cannot play in Mexico or Canada, and they asked to play in either of those 2 countries, but they've been blocked from playing.
Iran have withdrawn from the tournament.
No, I got a question.
Iran have withdrawn from the tournament.
But they asked. There was a moment where they were floating this idea. Go ahead, Efan.
But this is the thing, like, sorry because we opened up the political box of tricks again. Isn't it funny though that when Russia invaded Ukraine, Russia was out?
This is the question I was going to ask. This is what I was going to ask. So the hypocrisy.
America just bombed a school where 165 schoolgirls were killed. And you know what they did in that bomb? This is the thing that will shock you all. They did what's called a double tap bomb. So what happens is they bomb it first, kill all the kids, and then
People
wait
come
for the
to rescue.
parents to come, and then they bombed it again. That is the evil that we're dealing with here, right? And,
And there is suspicion, Irfan, that it was done by AI.
You joking?
Yes.
Well, AI, look, AI, what's it called? Palantir's AI system. What's it called? Tell some, I don't forget what it's called, but they've got a system where AI predicts, and AI just kills people willy-nilly. It's a mad prediction
that's
thing.
The scariest fact. It's basically Terminator 2 people.
It's Terminator 2. It just, but that's what I'm saying. But my point is, football people, they kick Russia off absolutely everything for destroying. But how can you just know that America, even Trump admitted the Tomahawk missile killed those kids. How come America's not out? Explain that to yourself. Wake up to that.
How come America, the World Cup is not taken away from America? How come the US is not losing the World Cup? How come that is not happening? How come Infantino is a piece of fucking Zionist?
Because Infantino is controlled by higher powers.
Right?
That's the
point I want to say to you is that Russia invade Ukraine. Everybody's like, they shouldn't compete.
Yeah.
Israel do a genocide.
Yeah.
They can still compete in European competition. They're allowed to do whatever they want. Take part in the cultural events like the singing. What's it called? The Eurovision, and all of that. But do you see the fucking absolute hypocrisy? Do you see the gall of these fucking people? It's simple. For me, people need to talk. I remember when Qatar, the World Cup, which was for me one of the best World Cups, by the way, Qatar, because it wasn't in such a small country that the games were far from each other, and we get the games in good time, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's like boycott them on human rights. What about the US when they've just started a fucking war and they're murdering people?
because Nuruddin, if you study history like I did and politics like I did, what you learn is one rule for a certain group and one rule for the other group. That's just how
it's white supremacy. It's called white supremacy for those people.
Listen, can I just say, if you know any of us personally, like Nuruddin, Bombay, etc., if you meet our circle of friends, it is absolutely everyone. White, black, green, blue, whatever, gay, straight. We don't give a toss who they are. We're not supremacists of one color. We just call out the system and how it works against everyone, how it turns white against white, black against white, black against brown, brown. That's what the system does. It's
divide and rule.
So we don't operate that way. We're here to tell you the truth because we want a society united. We want everyone to be together, and this is how we operate. This is how the channel. That's what the channel is about. But we have to learn and educate people and football and how football works in the wider scheme of things regarding politics. And like I said, I'm glad that you agree with us about this point about Russia being banned, but America's not banned. And America only killed these kids like a week ago, whatever. It's absolutely shocking. But we hope you can wake up to this. I mean, look, Nuruddin, we're talking about this. What about our own club? We got Jim the Rat and we got the Glazers, an example of disgusting owners of a club. We're constantly fighting this shit all day long. We are fighting it all day long. All day long we're fighting this. It just goes on and on in everything we do. And they are part of our owners are fully supportive of killing these people in Iran in many ways. Like they're on the side of the elite, the capitalist elite, because, people can say about its religion and everything else, but essentially it comes down to the billionaire class want to divide everyone to keep the billions that they've got. That's just how it works. That's what neoliberalism is all about. And it affects all of us watching football today and all of us who love football. But most of us football supporters, they just turn a blind eye because they're happy just to be comatose, watch the game and go back to comatose work again, and watch the game go back. They're not interested in thinking about how to dissect things and why the world the way it is, the way the world operates. They're not interested in thinking about that.
Yeah. Sean, should the world boycott the US for starting an illegal war in Iran?
Hey guys, I had a call to go. I wish that the rest of the world, I wish we the diaspora, African and Middle Eastern people of the world had enough economic, political, and social clout and power to extract the kind of consequences from America and the West that we need to. I wish that was the case, truly. But that's not the case. So unfortunately, we're going to have to live in the world as it is. And we're going to, hopefully watch a World Cup tournament that is fun and enjoyable to whatever extent, whatever that means these days, and we're able to a large extent keep the sport insulated from the madness in the world around it. I think football has an opportunity to be an escape and a unifier, and hopefully we're able to create a bubble around the sport and just enjoy purely for entertainment's sake the sport of football. I fully concede all the hypocrisies that you guys are highlighting. I think one of the more revealing statements about the International Court of Justice that was made, I forget by who, was that the ICJ is meant for Africans and
Yeah.
Middle
Facts.
Eastern,
Yeah.
not Europeans, right? So
Not
it is
Europeans
true.
or
Like
Americans. Yeah.
all these things that you guys are pointing out are true, and they are strategies, right? And part of the problem that the West is having now, especially like the boomers basically in Western countries, the reason why there's such an immigration panic is that these people recognize that we are coming upon the end of the imperial Western era, right? Also, all great civilizations end. History goes in cycles, and we're coming towards the end of it, and it is the time for ascendance of all the forgotten peoples, basically, of the world. Whether be it in sports, in movies, in music, in tech, whatever field that we get into, if we're allowed to get into it, we dominate, and it's driving people crazy, and it's causing the immigration panic that you see in the UK, in Europe, and in America, which is why many of these places of the world are taking refuge in right-wing politicians, to protect them basically from the emerging immigrant populations that are there. So, honestly, I really wish we were able to extract consequences from America. I wish that were the case. But in the absence of a perfect world, I'll settle for some good football entertainment.
Okay, fair enough. Bumbaye, do you think the world could boycott the US 2026 World Cup?
Me, bro, I just say I understand what Sean is saying. It doesn't come from a bad place, but I go to root cause. If Moses and Jesus and Muhammad came back to earth today, they wouldn't be interested in this World Cup. They wouldn't be interested in allowing the status quo to continue. That's the difference between the people, for example, of the resistance that are standing up to America, because they are going to go and see that we are going to change the status quo, because this is unjust. And the whole world that is marginalized, whether you know what's Islam or where Iran is on the map, you it resonates with them because they see that in that injustice that they have suffered. It's normal, very normal.
Yeah.
So
Irfan?
either you continue like this and say nothing we can do, just go, or you have to take your hat off to somebody that says no. If me, I gave you an example the other day. I know what you're like. If I'm walking in the street with you and somebody says something very bad, you're the type of person that, you know what, I'm fighting this person. You're not getting away with that. Because I might be a coward and say, nah, I'm not doing it. I should not be forcing you to be a coward like me. I have to respect you. I take that choice. But there is a distinct difference between the quality of people that we're talking about and what exactly substantively we're engaged in here. You're talking
Let me
about
just
people that are saying, nah, mate, enough is enough. Enough
so
killing, enough
Bubba,
bullying,
I
enough. We're not taking that no more. Then you've got
do
a
you
large part of Muslims that are saying, you know what, no, we don't want any trouble. It's okay. We'll keep bending over. Let Uncle Sam stick it to us for another 100 years. That people have had enough. What you've done in Palestine and Lebanon and Yemen and Iraq and Afghanistan and now Iran, it's enough, man. That's enough killing. No
Yeah.
reason for you to ever go there. All this women are a tool of the Western lexicon, of the Western narrative. They're a tool. I don't go to a nightclub telling people as a Muslim, stop the music, I want to pray. They don't come to the mosque saying, I want to do a DJ set. The Iranian people are Muslims. That's the way it's going to be. If I go to London and you see these crazy bearded guys that want to do Muslim areas, No. I'm not with that. Sorry. This is England. If you don't like it, leave. I'm born in this country. I love this country on my terms, not on David Cameron's terms or Keir Starmer's terms. Sean has the right to love America on his terms, no problem. It's not about the people. But don't go telling Iranians how their women should dress. Don't go telling Afghanis how they should do this and that. That's nonsense. You go and bomb a country out, destroy it, raise it to rubble because you say we don't like the way that the women are dressed.
Surely there's something
but the
in
woman,
between.
listen, the woman is being used. Well, let me just come in here. The woman is being used because they want those countries to basically they went into Afghanistan so they can make money from
their introduction to the Iranian Iranian war was bombing a school. A girls' school, a girls' school.
170 kids, man. 170 kids, man.
That's the women's rights we're talking about there.
100%, like they ever cared about. But listen, people, we've been at it for 1 hour and 40 minutes. I just want to go a little bit of the transfer rumors from what's happening with Manchester United. We've been linked with Bruno Guimaraes, 29 years old, today. We've also been linked with Tonali from Newcastle. Looks like there is an exodus movement. It looks like there's exodus out of Newcastle. Newcastle fans are having a meltdown. On the coach, first team coach thing, Nagelsmann apparently is in the frame. So I'll go to you first, Sean. Are you taking Nagelsmann or are you taking Michael Carrick?
I'm taking Sandro Tonali. That's my prayer.
Pasta, you want some pasta?
That's my prayer. That's my hope. That's my dream. I think
pasta.
if we're going to do a marquee signing this summer, I really hope it's Tonali. I think he's the perfect midfielder basically to replace Casemiro, and he's exactly the kind of player that we need. I'm not really sure that Guimaraes is a good fit. I think he's a fantastic player. I just don't think he's the kind of profile that we need right now. On the coaching front, honestly, like I'm going to not take a position on who the coach should be because I can totally see both sides of the argument. I can see people who say you have a good thing going with Michael Carrick, don't spoil it. I could also see, you know what, don't push your luck. You've done well with Carrick. Now thank him, be on your way, and bring in a more experienced coach for the next phase of development. I can totally see that new coach coming in and struggling, and us missing Carrick. And I can see Carrick, fumbling if he's given the permanent job. So for this one, I know that I will back whichever manager comes in, whether it's Carrick, whether it's Nagelsmann, whoever. I will back the manager. And so I'm indifferent, honestly. It's Tonali I want. I care more about the squad that we built, honestly, than who the manager is next summer, because I think I'll support them either way.
Do you want Tonali more than you want like somebody like Elliot Anderson?
Yeah, I think profile-wise, I think Tonali is the ideal kind of midfielder that we need for the team. I think we need Tonali and another substitute midfielder, somebody that can fill up the squad. But I don't see us getting both Tonali and Anderson. If I was to choose one, I'll choose Tonali.
Okay, fair enough. That's a choice. Would you give Casemiro one more year?
No.
Okay.
Well done, Cas. I'll love you from afar.
It's been a pleasure. I actually fundamentally disagree with you. You'll be shocked and surprised. I think Bruno Guimaraes is a better player than Tonali, me personally. I think Bruno Guimaraes is the position that Casemiro plays. I think he's that type of a leader. But unfortunately, he's 29 years old. He's a tad too old for me. I think the midfielder Manchester United must go and pay over the odds for is Anderson, because he could be the perfect six that we need, and he can make from deeper. He's basically a mixture of Wharton and Baleba in their top form, but he's consistent as well. So to me, Elliot Anderson is the guy Manchester United to go and sign in midfield. I think we need 3 midfielders. I think people should boycott this World Cup. If they had any cojones, I think most of these nations will boycott this World Cup and go, no, thank you. Or take it away from the US and put it in a neutral country where the country that's not invaded and it's not facilitated a genocide like the US have in Palestine. So we would take it away from them. In terms of Nagelsmann or Carrick, I want somebody like Ancelotti. I want somebody who's going to put pressure on these people behind me, the vultures of Manchester United, to basically make the signings that Manchester United need. We need about 7 to 8 signings. Ben, are you there? Ben's popped out for a minute. Mumbai, I'm going to ask you, Bruno Gomes, Tonali, who are you having?
Oh, I was going to ask, we're fundamentally trying to replace a very important player in Casemiro. I think Casemiro's value has been really highlighted with the advent of the change of manager, and he's part of a collective that's really improved in a much more orthodox and familiar setup at Manchester United. So he's been absolutely integral to us. Big goals, big games, big moments. I would keep him for one more year personally, but if he's going to go, I think we're really going to miss him. So what's the profile of player that I'm going to put next to Kobe Mainu? That's what I'm thinking here. So maybe you're right. Bruno is more of an operator in that position, breaking up some play, creating some play as well. Gets goals, reasonable return on goals. Tonali, I feel, is a bit more ahead. He's not a sitter as a 6. So that is why I'd go with you. I think Tonali is a good player, but we're stacked in that department. Ahead of those 2 6s, we're pretty stacked. Depending on who comes and goes, you got Mount, Xerxes, Bruno, Cobbs can operate there. You got Cunha in there. You got Brian playing in there sometimes. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not saying I'd say no, he's good, but I'm looking to replace Casemiro and really shore things up here. So Anderson seems like a good choice, and Bruno Guimaraes seems like a more natural replacement for those two. In terms of managing Nuruddin, I like Ancelotti, but Ancelotti's he's quite old now, man. I don't know if he's going to come and raise hell like you think with the Glazers and stuff like that. And I don't know if he's got the energy to really make this what we need. That's my only thing with him. A lot of people say Enrique. I don't know a lot about Enrique, I'll be honest with you. It's not like I watch Barcelona or PSG, but it seems like he's got something about him. And obviously you've got Thomas Tuchel there as well, depending on how it goes with England. These seem like sensible replacements to me. There's a lot less element of risk. There's energy there. There's longevity there. There's good experience there as well. So these 2 guys seem like, you wouldn't say no. Carrick remains in that conversation, which isn't to say he's guaranteed anything. I'm not saying that at all, but he will be in the conversation at the moment, and depending how it finishes.
Fair enough. Big up, Ben. Welcome to join us. Are you well? Chucky Allah. Happy St. Patrick's. How's your head?
Big up, man. Big up, man.
You have a hangover?
No, I can't even drink, lad. I'm on Lent still.
Big up.
Lent and
People doing Lent.
yeah,
So,
and the
so,
month.
Lent comes before St. Patrick's?
Yeah.
No, Lent starts from the same time as
Ramadan.
Yes. So for me, hopefully it'll be well, hopefully this time next week, anyways. I can start the booze again, man. But yeah, first things first. Eid Mubarak to all the Muslims out there, man.
Thank you.
World, man. And yeah, once again, solidarity and love to the people of Iran and to the people of Palestine and Lebanon. Also solidarity and love to that journalist who was live broadcasting in Lebanon, and whilst he was doing an interview, a bomb literally landed like 10 or 15 meters beside him. And honestly, bro, it just goes to show that it's not Mr. Trump that's got control of this war. It's Netanyahu. You know, Trump keeps thinking he rules the world. He's the main man and shit. You know, I just think Israel's just gaslighting each and every single one of us, man. And it just goes to show their true colors, man. So look, solidarity, love to the people of Lebanon and Palestine and Iran, man. Honestly, like Israel's true colors are just showing every day, man. Like it's every day they're just showing their true colors, man. And it's just a horrible world we're living in right now with just a prick that's just gaslighting the whole world about these Epstein files, man. It's just fucking disgusting to see, bro.
Epstein
To
Walker
my
stuff.
liking, it's Epstein more. But look, I've had a wee listen and I've had a wee listen in there to see what the stories we've been talking about. I completely disagree in terms of Bruno Guimaraes. I would like him, but for me, I'm taking Tonali and Anderson any day of the week, bro. I just think
I forgot you're
Bruno,
a big fan like Sean.
I just think if you take Tonali out of that Newcastle team, they are nothing. That midfield is absolutely shocking. The reason why it's so balanced and so controlled is because Tonali just is so defensively secured in that midfield three, man. And people are misprofiling Tonali. People are giving him so much stick. Oh, he's not really a 6. He's not really this. He's not really that. I'm sorry to say this, bro. He is a complete midfielder. The guy knows how to attack. The guy knows how to defend. The guy is super fucking strong. He's literally physical as fuck. The only probably bad thing about him is he's not really as good as what people think when it comes to aerial threat and shit, like what Casemiro was like, obviously for us. So look, I think you need to balance it out. I think we need Tonali and we need Anderson. Bruno Guimaraes, good wee player. I do like Bruno Guimaraes, but I think with Bruno Guimaraes is the issue I have with him is one, he's 29. Two, the profile we do not need. I believe that Bruno Guimaraes is more of a Kobe Minu profile, and I just think if you bring in Bruno Guimaraes, you're mixing the whole team up. You're complicating the whole midfield, and we cannot afford to do that, man. Right now, we need defensively minded midfielders who can keep control of the ball, keep control of the tempo. You know, just playing the half turn. And right now, like every game I've watched. I mean, I've been a big fan of Eddie Howe. People know in the chat, people know in the panel, and outside of Man United, I watch Newcastle a lot, bro. And every time they play it from the back, Canali's always there, bro. He's always there in that half turn. Yes, it might not be pretty at times, but he's always there, bro. He just keeps everything moving. And bro, see that game when we were at St James's Park, he was absolutely phenomenal. He ran the fucking show. People can say he didn't, but he fucking did, bro. I mean, I watched football with my own fucking eyes, man, and that guy was literally everywhere. But look, it's not. There's no excuse. Even if Tonali does come to Man United, there's no excuse for us to go out and get another midfielder. I do think this whole it makes the media are making it out that we can only get one, but we can't get the other. That's not good enough. I don't want to hear any bullshit saying Man United don't have the money. Man United are £1.3 billion in debt. I'm not hearing any of this bullshit. This is an important summer for Ineos. And yet again, we've kept a racist man. I will repeat every fucking show. We have kept a racist man at this fucking football club, so he has to fucking show up. Wilcox has to show up. Barada has to show up. This is a World Cup coming up, people. A World Cup. They must have a plan set in place. I hope they fucking do have a plan and prove me fucking wrong. Because if I don't see 3 midfielders, a left back, a right back, 1 centre back, and a left wing, then we already know Ineos' true colours, but it just exposes them even more, man. And I'm sorry, man, if I hear 1 ounce in this fucking fan base, bro, because we know what this fan base is like. If Enrique comes in, if Areola comes in, if Eddie Howe comes in, if they don't back him this summer, bro, if they don't back whoever the next coach is, bro, I'm sorry to every fan out there that will actually throw any coach under the bus. These are all a fucking disgrace, bro. Because this is exactly what's going to happen. It's literally been lined up. It happened the same with Amarim. Yes, people can say he did get backed. He brought in four four starters in Mbumo, Sesko, Cunha, and Lamans. But bro, the guy wanted a midfielder. The fucker didn't get it. Louis van Gaal wanted players, he didn't get backed. Jose Mourinho wanted players, didn't get fucking backed properly. Bro, the list keeps going on and on and on, man. And you know what, bro? If anyone wants to fucking say, oh, it's a manager, the manager this, manager that, manager this, manager that. He runs the team, he runs this, he runs that. I'm sorry, bro. You aren't seeing the bigger fucking picture, man. And you know what? It's on you. Yous have kept this fucker in charge, in Sir Jim Ratcliffe. You have done it, not me, because I wouldn't have fucking stood it, bro. A racist man staying at our beautiful football club, and we're allowing it, man. We're actually allowing it. It's a fucking disgrace, man. But look, not for me, Bruno Guimaraes. Not for me. Tonali, Anderson, and you know what? I'll go and get that French player. What do you call it? I think he's from Senegal, Sangari. I'll go and get him right there. And that's my 3 midfield. Perfect midfield. You go Kobe Mainu there. You let Ugarte go. And like I said, man, if you have a midfield of Anderson, Tonali, and Kobe Mainu, I'm sorry, man. That's I wouldn't say the best midfield in the Premier League, but it's up there. It's up there. It's way more balanced, and I would actually be more confident in actually us controlling and sustaining our attacks and keeping control of obviously all the games realistically, and just winning the midfield battles. But yeah, that's my 2 pence anyways. But is there any other topic? Just quickly, nerd. Oh, you asked me about the Casemiro, wasn't it? No, not for me.
Yeah.
Oh, Nangosman, no, not for me. Okay. Not for me.
What do you think, Casemiro one more, yeah?
No. Wish him all the best. So I absolutely love that. I love Casemiro, man. The more I seen more of him, like, yes, he's lost. He's got old, obviously. He's lost a bit of his pace, like, but he's just a leader. And you know what? I hope every single Man United fan, every single Man United player who's developing, like Lenny Euro, like all these players who are all growing up. I just hope that Casemiro can give them advice like for leadership wise and shit, man, because honestly he's gonna be a big miss, man, and we just need to be very, very smart on who we're gonna bring in. And I think Tonali and Anderson is the perfect replacement for Casemiro. But yeah, big up everyone, man. Free Palestine, and solidarity and love to the people of Iran and Lebanon.
Yeah, big up.
Big up.
Listen, Irfan, he's still there. Irfan, can you hear us? Hello, Irfan, calling.
1 second. Yo.
Yeah, talk to me. Nangosman or Michael Carrick? Who are you having?
Nerd, people keep telling me Nagelsmann this kind of special manager, but to be honest with you, again, neither of them has proved anything to me, really. One has got a CV that's sort of, meant to be like the new golden manager of Germany, and one's just a guy still trying to find his feet, but he's doing a decent job with the team. None of these guys, the manager that I want doesn't exist out there. He doesn't exist, I want somebody who's younger. I want somebody who understands the Premier League very well. And I want someone who also, is a real footballing expert, who studies football from all over the world, looks at tactics, and then also looking for a man that also has got the man-to-man, player arm around the skills of Ferguson. So that manager doesn't exist for me. But all I want really is I want a manager that comes in and basically makes the players not feel too comfortable, gives them enough love, but also says, listen, if you ain't performing, you're out, okay? And I don't see that with Carrick. That's my weakness with him. And listen, it's working for him because they're winning, So, but I can't see it long term, especially when we have 2 to 3 games a week, or even 2 games a week, or 2 games every week. I just don't see it. So I get asked this all the time, but I'm not really with either of them. Nuruddin. I don't even know who that manager is. Could be out there. I don't even know if it exists. And I do think about this a lot. I do think about this a lot of the time, but I don't know where we're going to go, because if we keep Carrick on and he fails, we're back in that washing machine again. And Man United have not been able to get out of the washing machine for a long, long time since Ferguson. We're still stuck in it, and I don't really know where we're going to go. Regarding the question of midfield, there can only be one choice, Nuruddin. I mean, obviously, no, there are 2 really, but I would take Anderson all day long. And if we couldn't get him, I'd break the bank. I'd even pay 100 million for the guy if we could get him. I like Tonali. I think he's a great player. You know, I do think he's proved himself to be a top player. Even he would be a massive upgrade on him. I mean, the thing with people say about Casemiro leaving is, where do we get 7 goals in the Premier League from midfield from Nuruddin? Where do we get that from? Is Ali Anderson going to give us 7 goals? Maybe would Tonali give us 7 goals? I don't know. So again, it's a tough one for all of us. I just think we need another centre back. I think we need a right back. I think we need a left back. You know, I think we need 2 midfielders. I think we need another striker. That's my honest opinion.
If Ugarte leaves, we need 3. Ugarte is unsettled. He wants to leave.
No, I said left back, right back, 2 midfielders, a striker.
3 midfielders if Ugarte leaves.
Oh, hang on, we need a centre back, because I'd get rid. I wouldn't keep De Ligt on. I wouldn't keep him on.
Oh, just now, literally breaking news. Second part of the interview with Michael Carrick was the what's called the embargo section was released. A journalist asked Michael Carrick if De Ligt is out for the season, and he said he don't know, which means he's out for the season.
Yeah. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Absolute joke.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Low-key, I would keep Ugarte. I think going into the Champions League, going into next season, hopefully we're competing in 4 competitions. So I will keep Ugarte. I think we need defenders for sure. I think we need a left back. That would be a priority. So I would prioritize a defensive midfielder, somebody like Tonali. Also a left back, hopefully Lewis Hall. Ideally, we'll just raid Newcastle for 2 players, Tonali and Lewis Hall, left back, midfielder. I would get another centre back, and I think 3 players basically will be my floor, basically, for signings this summer. Anything above that is an upside, which I welcome.
All right, no problem, Sean. But this is it. Carrick admits that no guarantee Matthias Ligt will play a game this season. So I think we need to buy 2 for me. Yeah, big up to Ben. Appreciate him for jumping on. Bumbaye, big up to you as well. Listen, guys, we've been live for 2 hours. We've had a passionate debate. You're talking to people who actually are life stories. Make sure that we stay on top of politics, because somebody said it before. If you ignore politics, politics will do you. So there we go. I think I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it was.
So if you don't do politics, politics will do you. That's what he said.
Will do you. Yeah. Big up. But yeah, I thought we explained it. I think if you believed in any of these slogans of human rights and all of that. Big up CM22, long time no see. I feel as long as the owners continue to act neglect and impulse, the constant yo-yo, the fortunes will remain. Management is rife throughout the club. Mismanagement is rife throughout the club.
He's right. Big shout out to CM22.
There you go. Big up CM. Right.
Is that CM? There's 2 of them.
Yeah. The CM. Yeah. Big up CM.
Hey,
long time no see, man. Big up.
No, long time. Long time.
Yeah. But yeah, I listen. I think what's going to happen is going to happen. I think there's going to be a time, if this war prolongs, where people might have to consider boycotting the World Cup. I think that is quite open. Apparently, there's going to be ICE agents in all of the different stadiums. So, and then he's banned 7 countries, fans from 7 countries who want to go to the World Cup. So the visas are very, very strict as well. And then the ticket prices, you're going to get the most expensive ticket prices in the history of any World Cup. So, yeah, I think we need to scrap it all or give it to another country or call a couple of countries that are not invading people. But it is what it is. And in terms of Nagelsmann, I don't know. I asked for Ancelotti's, and Ben said, or Bumbaye said, that is all. I need somebody who the players respect from day dot. The players don't question. And I think, and somebody that can put pressure on these Muppets behind me to force them to buy quality. That is who I want as somebody like that, somebody who's got experience. Yes, Bumbaye, I think yes, but he needs to have coaches. And I can see maybe Michael Carrick being one of the coaches who stays on under Ancelotti. I can entertain that, and a couple of more other coaches from the continent, and especially the specific types of fitness coaches that can get the fitness, and also the medical team, new medical team. That's what we need. That's what I believe we need. But yeah, We can argue this. We'll be like those. Some of us will be back live tomorrow if they're available after the game. 8 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. Bournemouth play Manchester United. Let's see where this game goes, because we're not going to be able to play another game in 23 days, people. Obviously, because of international break. But then we come back a week later than anybody else, and we come back on a Monday night against Leeds. I'll be there in that game. I'll be going to that game. But yeah, if I'm alive, inshallah. The feeling's mutual, guys. Good to see you all. Well, thank you for the
big up, guys.
Also, Irfan purchased it instantly. Yeah, he's read the book. Yeah. Oh, well, listen, you need to read The Wretched of the Earth as well. That's another book that I think you were not here when Sean mentioned that book. That'll tell you everything you need to know about.
I think it's Nuruddin. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Nuruddin. Much as I love Frantz Fanon, Wretched of It, it's a very, very difficult read. It's very deep.
Irfan, this guy says he's a journalist. He's a journalist. He's a well-read.
Who is CM?
Yeah, he's a journalist.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, the book I gave him is the one, because he explains it. These books, like Frantz Fanon's Wretched of Earth, another one in terms of philosophy and history is Said, what's it called? Edward Said's book.
Yeah, Orientalism. Yeah, Orientalism.
Because what the whole point of these books is to explain how Europeans dominate. I mean, like, look, there's a quote, obviously, the European history was built on savagery. You have to understand how societies developed. You have to understand how you got the sick vote. You have to understand how you got a 35-hour working week. You have to understand how you got holiday pay. None of these things. You have to even understand how you got the vote. None of these things were given up free by the elite. People had to die for every single one of them. I was told this at a very, very young age. This is why I became very, very left wing. And, I studied politics, for all my life. And this is how me and Nuruddin connect, because we're very, very political. But we're unlike many of the people we know. And it's a shame that people don't engage more, because it's the only way that you can really get to understand your short life. If you try and engage, you might not be able to do anything about it, but it's important to look. I don't want to be a person with his head in the sand wondering why things are not working out properly and just getting on my job. I want to learn why, at least know why things are terrible. And then hopefully, we get the conversation going, and hopefully we've educated people on the channel here. A lot of people have said a lot of stuff. Some people have said things that I think are crazy, but I understand where they're coming from. But most people have been silent. And I hope they've been listening and learning and how football and politics work, and how politics today is working, because how we have a very, very dark, sinister politics. We don't get good people in politics because it's so dark. It's the ugliest job in the world in politics, because it's been taken over by people who are being bought by corporations. Politicians do not support people. They used to for a short space of time. Politicians support corporations. They don't care about you. And that's what you have to understand.
And the Epstein class, the Epstein and the PDF.
Well, they are the billionaire neoliberal class is the Epstein class. That's why they support Israel, because big corporations, billionaires, they're not really interested in how someone's subjugated, how someone dies in Palestine. They don't care about that, because they just support the side where their money is on, and the money's on that side. That's why they support them. It's as simple as that.
It's a class war, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, it's a class war. People, love, solidarity, love and light. Let me just get to this quickly. Make sure you follow Irfan Rainey on X, politics, all of the things. He'll back it up, he'll share.
Politics only on X, yeah.
You only see him in here. Irfan Rainey on Instagram. You see all the music and culture and the rest of it. Ben, make sure you follow Ben Elmore39. And then on TikTok and Twitch, he's a gamer, Elmore20. Make sure you follow Sean at Sean Thomas on X. Make sure you check out his Geopolitical
Not
podcast.
To be confused with Sean Kuti, yeah? Not confused with him. Don't confuse it with him.
Sean Thomas, yeah. Make sure you follow his Geopolitical podcast, How We See Things. Big up and love to everybody. Big up to Bombay. Big up to everybody in the chat, even those who disagree with us. Big up. I hope you see the light sometime soon. Don't believe a word that we've said. Google things yourself. Research things yourself. Don't take it for another person. Look it up for yourself, and you make up your own mind. But yeah, we stand in total solidarity with all those people resisting colonization, imperialism, the war machine, anywhere in this world. We stand up in total solidarity with all the indigenous people, wherever they are, whether in Greenland, whether in Northern Norway, whether anywhere in the continent, whether anywhere.
And just to say one last thing, Nuruddin, the discussion you had today, you're not going to get it on any other football channel. You won't get it, right? No Man United channel, nothing. And what it is that the funny thing is that when we talk about these things, obviously we're very passionate, but the sad truth is that the reason the way the things are the way they are because so many people, like the average football poller, is just not politicized. They're just not at all. And so this is why we feel we've got to speak up about it, because we want other people to do it, but they just don't. And this is the subject, because they just don't have the knowledge. They're too busy on Man United and nothing else. They're not interested too much in Man United in the context of the wider world. You know, how the milkman plays for his football ticket, etc. These things we are, but we don't want to bombard you to hell with politics, because it will fry your brain. But that's just how it is. You know, your brain will grow if you do get into politics.
Yeah, it's not. To me, listen, my whole life is I wish I never knew about war. I survived war as a kid. I'm always going to talk about it. My friends sometimes say to me, just have a pint. Stop talking about these things. First of all, I don't drink. I don't even drink caffeine. Forget about anything else. I'm herbal teetotal. I can't even drink caffeinated anything. I drink water only. If you know, you know. And the olive juice back in the day, if you know, you know. But anyway, love and light, people. Big up to you, everybody. Like I said, fuck the imperialists, fuck the neoliberalists, the war machine, the Zios. They can go on, fuck themselves. I thank solidarity and love to the people of Lebanon who are standing strong amidst fighting the empire, one of the most evil empires.
Yeah, Lebanon and Iran are getting it big time.
Yeah, Lebanon, Iran, solidarity with the Congo, with Sudan. It's all connected, people, with Haiti, with Cuba, with Venezuela.
Cuba as well. Cuba's getting it bad at the moment,
All those people, all of those. Yeah. Solidarity and love to them. Fuck the war machine. F the Glazers, F Ineos. See you tomorrow night. We'll be live for the match reaction panel. Hopefully Bumbai will be here, FR will be here, Sean will be here, Ben will be here. Yeah. And we'll analyse what's going on with Manchester United. It's 8 o'clock kickoff. We'll be live straight after for the Mumbai. Let me know, Irfan, if you're free. I can set it up. So I'll be doing a watch along with Saeed. On my way, you can start the program. I can just get you on till I get here. So let me know if you're available.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
send
message
the link, man.
I know, okay?
Yeah, love. Take care, people. Good night.
Good night, all.